Hello and welcome to everyone. I am Eric Fruits. I'm one of the Associate Course Directors from the Microphones and Theory program here and Music History 1 online. And we've got a special guest here from Neumann Microphones, Mr. Wolfgang Fraissinet. Put your hands together and let's welcome him.
Thank you very much. Hi to everybody. You know, working for a company which was founded in 1928, it is absolutely great to have such a young audience, because normally we talk to all these people who are world-famous producers, actors, singers, celebrities, the typical Neumann users all over the world. And now I'm here. I looked through all these windows in your classes, and I saw you doing the stuff you were doing. And it's really amazing to see the change in the workflow, the way people are working in these days when they do audio and when they create content. And the presentation here today is not just looking backwards what Neumann did since more than 80 years and showing you our nice tube microphones and all the technologies and the U87. I mean, you know the U87. You have it here in many studios. I would like to use this opportunity together with you in a common effort, in a two-way dialogue, and talk a little bit about some trends in the industry, what will drive us over the next years to come, rather than looking backwards all the time. But before we do that, having seen the nice video of Full Sail, I can tell you I did not expect Full Sail to be that big as it is in these days. I've been here about 16 years ago, and to prove that I'm not lying or just presenting something to you, this was the T-shirt I got from Full Sail at the 20th anniversary of your facilities. And okay, it probably doesn't fit anymore, but you know, seeing it 16 years later with 1,200 teachers. In the old times, you had 2,000 students here. So you have almost the number of teachers what you had in students in the old days. It's really amazing to see all that, and I think I did a lot of more steps today walking around the facilities than I'm doing in a normal office day at the Neumann headquarters in Berlin. So to make you aware of where I come from, where we are located, I took some pictures. So let's start with the place where we stand. Well, first of all, as you know, my name is Wolfgang Fraissinet. I'm the president of Neumann, located at the headquarters in Berlin. And on top of that, I'm the director of audio recording for the whole Sennheiser group worldwide, which means this includes the whole Neumann product portfolio and the entire company Neumann, plus everything you are using here in your different places when you use Sennheiser gear, HD 280s, MKH microphones, and a lot of other stuff which you're using in the studio. So it is called business segment audio recording. And I will talk about this business segment because I think that's what drives you here. That's what drives me every day, and I think we will have some interesting findings today. The new Neumann headquarters in the center of Berlin. This is just a place where we have some office space, some engineering facilities, an anechoic chamber, but no production or something like that, because we belong to the Sennheiser group since 1991. Neumann is still an own company, as you know it, but we belong to the Sennheiser group. So all the production of Neumann products is located near Hanover, which is a city west of Berlin, about 200 miles away from Berlin. We do have production facilities in Ireland, in Tullamore. Does anybody know Tullamore whiskey? You don't dare to say it because the professors are, yeah, you are, okay. Okay, you were the only honest person. You get a Berlin beer for your handbag. Please. So Look at that. This building, what you see here on the left-hand side of the picture, is an old building which was built in 1904, so before the First World War. And it survived somehow both world wars. Berlin was heavily bombarded and destroyed, as you know. But this building survived somehow, but not everything of it. So then we had, after the Second World War, the separation of Berlin, the Berlin Wall. I think everybody with you has heard about it. And now we had the German Democratic Republic, East Berlin, and the Bundesrepublik Germany, Deutschland, the so-called West Berlin. And this building was located in the former East Berlin, the GDR. And they kept the building in some condition. That is what that building looked like in 1989. 1989, I'm not talking about 1946 or 47, 1989. So the building had no real roof anymore. It was an absolute disaster from a visual point of view, and it was not really used. And then, after some time, we decided to turn this into the new Neumann headquarters and did some little retouches on it, and this is what it looks like now. I expected this kind of wow, because that's what I normally only hear when I give Neumann microphones, many vintage microphones to people. This is a vintage building, right? Here you see it from a further distance. And I mean, you know, Berlin is a city which is heavily loaded with history. It's more than 800 years old. We do have a lot of these old buildings which somehow survived the wars and all the activities around that time. But of course, it takes some touches on these buildings to get it back to what you see here. So, welcome to the Neumann headquarters. That is the inside when we took it over. That is the roof, the newly made roof of that building. There was nothing inside. It was, from an audio perspective, it was a naked construction without any insulation, isolation, or anything you need in a building like this. And that particular spot is a roof with 2 stories, 2 floors, and a gallery. And it was turned into something like, it's the same spot now. This is what it is now. This is another view of the same roof. And as you can see here, in the center of the picture, there is this roundly shaped room. When you stand there at the window and you look out of the room, you look to the center, the Potsdamer Platz, which is the main center in the city of Berlin. And a lot of people are jealous that they couldn't get that spot, because it's really difficult to get something like this in Paris, in London, while New York is a different story. But for Berlin, this is really a unique place to be. So this particular spot now has been turned into this. It's the main conference room. So whenever you will be asking me this afternoon, Mr. Fraissinet, what would be the next idea for a new Neumann microphone, or what is the difference between analog and digital, and all the questions which we have in mind when we think about modern audio, this is where this will all be created now. We moved into this building only 2 weeks ago, so it's fairly new. It's another side from the 2nd floor in the roof. And we have a lot of little spaces and places, spots where people can just sit down and discuss and talk. Nobody pushes somebody. You must be ready with your work by 5 p.m. because we are waiting for it. These are creative engineers who know what they are doing. These are creative people at the Neumann headquarters who should have their freedom to work when they have the right idea and not when they are pushed to have the right idea. And we have a lot of artists performing in the city of Berlin. And a lot of these people will come to the Neumann headquarters after their performance and have a glass of champagne on our roof terrace. Roof terrace. By the way, this is one room for our engineers. This is where we are developing electronics and software. It's just one room as a placeholder for many others. And this is the roof terrace in the night. It's just a mock-up. It's not a real photograph, as you can see. But I have seen that's what you are doing on a daily basis here, right? You take a real photograph and you do the same thing on the screen, and then the thing on the screen looks better than the original photograph. So that's what we have done here too. That's the TV tower in the background there, and that is where we will have receptions for artists, for producers, politicians, directors of audio schools, professors from universities, and stuff like that. Is somebody here from the management of Full Sail? Can you wave your hands? Would you like to see that place? Later. We will also have an opportunity here to do public viewing. So when we have sports activities in the city of Berlin, in the Olympic Stadium or something like this, we will have a big surface where people can watch live on TV. And we have a lot of audio gear which we make. You know, Neumann stands for more than just microphones. We also make studio monitors now. I hardly see any here at Full Sail yet, but this is something we got to change altogether commonly. And we will use them on our roof terrace. So, but now that was the location. So you know, have a little understanding where my office is and where my team works and how we work in Berlin. But audio recording as a whole for the Sennheiser Group is of course more than just Neumann. So let's see what audio recording is all about. First, it's of course tailored solutions for all applications. That's always true. It's the Neumann microphone range, as you know it. By the way, is there anybody here who does not know what a U87 is? You don't know it. Okay, that's a true and honest answer. This is your first Neumann logo for your jacket or anything. So by the end of this presentation, you will exactly know what the U87 is, believe me. By the way, how many polar patterns does the U87 have? 3, okay. That was quiet. I expected more people to say 3 all of a sudden, but okay. Studio monitors, as you know, or maybe as you don't know, Neumann is also making studio monitors, 2-way systems, 3-way systems, subwoofers, and we are developing more products and add them to the lineup of studio monitors, and that is something which we are doing now since 5 years. And meanwhile, we see them also here in America in quite a number of studios. 5 years is not long when you come up with a new product which is not so well established in the market yet. But we are enjoying a lot of new customers using them and who like them very, very much. On top of that, we do have the MK4 and the MK8 microphones from Sennheiser. We do have the MKH line. We do have headphones like the HD280. Is there anybody in this room who does not have an HD280 yet? Thank you. So, you see, I changed the pattern of questioning, right? Of asking. So, next thing. Business segment audio recording. How do we win in 2015? First of all, there is one new product. TLM 107. Has anybody ever used the TLM 107 here at Full Sail? Do you know anything about it from the internet or so? Yeah, okay. It's a fairly new tool for studio recording. Okay, we got a tech award for it, which we have a few of them over the long lifetime of Neumann. But the TLM 107 is really a special microphone because it has a toggle switch, kind of a toggle switch, what you know from mobile phones and so on, at least from older mobile phones. In the meantime, toggle switches are not that common anymore. But for a microphone, it's a new thing. And I don't want to go too much into details for one product, but it's a fairly new thing in this year. Then the U87 won the Sound on Sound Award, not only once, not only twice, but we made a hat trick 3 times for a product which is almost 45 years old now. I mean, to get an award for that product, even in these days, tells us something. There is a reason why you are still using it in the studio, although there are so many options from other manufacturers in other countries in the world for much cheaper prices than the U87. But I just want to give you one little example why this is a $3,000 item. What do you think how many handmade quality tests are made for each U87 before it's packed in a box and shipped to a customer? 10? Another 200, come on, guys. No, it's 64 handmade tests, but 64 times some human being is taking it into their hands and does something with the product and say it's okay or not okay, and if it's not okay, it won't be shipped. So that costs, of course, money. It's different from manufacturing something with a similar looking outer shell and some different electronics in it and have it made in China. So I think there's a reason why Neumann is getting these awards even in these days for that product. The MK4 got an award too. And I said, how do we win this year? And now we go away from the product view only, and also concentrate on other things, your side of the business. You are creating content. I'm quite certain that a number of you does have more experience connecting systems together using IT infrastructure or creating IT infrastructure than I have it, although I'm producing myself, but not as my main job, and you are going for that to be your main job in future. So in this case, we change roles. You are the professionals, and I'm, well, the listener. But in order to be able to see how our products are used, how microphones are used in certain recording applications, and what are the exceptions from the rule where an engineer or a recording engineer says, well, in this case, I better use a ribbon microphone, which Neumann doesn't have, or Sennheiser doesn't have. Or in that case, I prefer a dynamic microphone because a condenser microphone is far too sensitive for the purpose I'm using it for, on stage in a live environment, for example. Or for a classical recording of such a big orchestra, it's of course a different story what you use because you don't have so many high sound pressure level instruments there than for a rock band. And so in these cases, we can only learn how to do things right when we create product by using it ourselves and make the experience on the location. And that's what I'm doing from time to time. So this is a production which I made together with the director of film scoring and recording at the Skywalker Ranch, Leslie N. Jones. I think most of you must know at least the name. And we both recorded Beethoven's Ninth Symphony with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. And we used a lot of microphones for that orchestra because it's 85 musicians in the orchestra, plus 200 people in a choir on stage at the same time, because there is this Ode to Freedom in Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which is an amazing piece of history in music, but it requires, of course, a lot of microphones and a lot of know-how how to use microphones in the acoustic environment of a hall like that, because it's a center stage hall. So there is surrounding neighborhood made of concrete, wood, and chairs, which are beneath the level of the stage, which is not good for certain applications. So it was a tricky thing to do this, and we learned quite a lot from that. If somebody is interested in more details what we really did there, have you seen Mix Magazine in February? There was the front cover story, this production. And if some of you want to have a copy of it, please come to me after the presentation. I can give it to you. The interesting part of it is it was all recorded with digital microphones. It's all 96 kilohertz, 24-bit, and it's all recorded with MKH digital microphones from Sennheiser or Solution D microphones from Neumann. And there were interesting things like a line array of diffuse field equalized miniature microphones with a sphere on top, and this was recording the entire orchestra from the front. And for the choir, it was quite interesting to use these microphones, and it's just a different experience from doing the same thing with analog mics. It's really a much better pickup of the depths of the room, and the dynamic range of digital microphones is much higher than with analog microphones. You simply don't hear the electronics anymore, which you always do with analog mics, although we love them, we have used them for decades. But times are changing. So, yeah, that's what I just explained to you, the Mix Magazine article. And then a new thing for recording in these days is that we see more and more people using mobile gear while people try to record something. You go on the street and you take a selfie stick and take some pictures of yourself and say, here, I'm at grandmother's new home or senior home or whatever it is, and you just report something. What you have to do is you only normally use the gear which is in your cell phone, audio-wise. Who of you is using iPhones? Who of you is not using an iPhone? Okay, that's the answer to what I'm trying to express. We are cooperating with Apogee now, the Sennheiser group, in order to get a step closer to the YouTube generation and the iPhone, iPad, iPod users in these days, and make it possible to use studio gear together with those mobile devices. As you know, Apogee is known for its brilliant converter technology. So you see the blue dots are the Sennheiser products, the orange dots are the Neumann products. It symbolizes it, the color. And now Apogee moves into it and creates a combination of these products. What does it look like? The easiest thing is this. It's a lavalier microphone, and you plug it into an Apogee converter. You just go with a lightning connector right into your iPhone. No other gear, nothing complicated. You use the Apogee software, you downloaded the app on your iPhone, and up and running, you can record at 96 kilohertz and 24-bit. How cool is that? Yeah, clap your hands, it's okay. So, but there's more to it. Mobile recording is also a situation like this. You know, you're going out with your acoustic guitar, you have your friends with you, and you just make some music somewhere and you want to record it. That's the way to do it in these days. And those are the ways which we are offering to the line. Mainly existing products just being able to be used in conjunction with these devices there just by an intelligent way of combining things together. 1 + 1 is 3 in this case. So, and I think that's something where audio people of the elder generation normally don't think about it, because content is created in a professional audio recording environment with a huge console and with XLR connectors, and the way how we are doing it in these days. But that's what makes the world change now, and we better adjust our behavior, even as the industry in audio, towards that before, well, the market changes and we are too late. So that does not mean that one replaces the other, but it will give some changes in the market, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes. So here you see again, it symbolizes what I have just been explaining. Of course, you can also do any iCloud. You can also use any iCloud environment and connect it to your home. And right now, there is a solution of a so-called clip mic digital and an MKE digital, the Sennheiser MKE digital. And these microphones are connected to Apple devices. Of course, there will be an Android version available, but not now, a little later. But how many people are using Android devices here in this room? Okay, that's 30%. Apple again. That's why we started this way first. It doesn't mean that we neglect the other, that we neglect the other group, but it's not the other half. It's less than that. So we introduced the product at NAB and Music Messe in Frankfurt, NAB in Las Vegas, and ever since then it is available, and we start delivery now. So if the one or the other student in this room could imagine to make use of that, we do have a solution to provide, and please go online, and the rest is self-explanable. Audio recording potential customers. I just made a list which explains a little bit the difference between the typical audio recording market as we all know it from the last 40 years or 50 years, where we said, okay, professionally recorded music is always recorded in a concert hall or in an audio environment of that caliber, and you gotta have a professional studio attached to it and a huge console and the mic locker with the nice Neumann microphones and microphones from other manufacturers as well, the typical devices you use for those recordings, and then you do all the XLR connection, and then in the end you have a CD. Even that is old-fashioned these days, as we all know. But today, when we see the potential customers in our industry, we think, well, there is the educational market, and that's why I'm here today. Recording programs at universities. It does not mean that I'm not standing here in order to sell products to you or to the university right now. It is to develop intelligent programs in cooperation with organizations like For Sale and find the right way of being part of this educational process, bidirectional educational process. You educate us that we got to change from this old picture to a more modern picture. At the same time, we have to provide the necessary gear so that you can do your job. So that is a two-way road, and we think this is something which is a very useful way to cooperate with educational institutes and help each other. Project and professional recording studios will remain the same, of course, while prosumers, I mean, how many of you consider themselves to be professionals already without the final examen? Okay, so it's not too many hands yet. How many of those consider themselves to be consumers? It's not many more hands, because you are somewhere in this transition period between the consumer without that education or the professional once you have passed the final examen, and then you are professionals. So most of your peers and friends who are not going to Full Sail and who are going for other jobs do the same thing what prosumers do. They start recording at home, they start to do any audio, any video on the street or wherever, and create content. And those people are basically not educated in the sense what you are educated in right now, but this content is on the web. And this content is not bad all the time. I mean, you see how many clicks some people get to just create something and out of the blue, and they have no clue what they are doing there, and they know it's nice, and that's why they put it on YouTube, but they don't know anything about the quality level they are achieving there. But this crowd is growing. So these people need gear. So we think it's worth to, again, talk with students and universities and educational institutes about the perception, what this market will be in a few years from now. Okay. And then we talk about mobile recording. I mentioned that already. I don't go through the whole list here. Vintage recording enthusiasts, okay, that are the typical U67, U40, U47 users. The people who like their M50s and M49s. Do you know all these products which I'm just mentioning? Yeah. Most of you do, right? Okay. And then, of course, film, TV, professional recording, and lots of studios and social media influencers and artists. All these people are somehow potential users of audio gear. So new audio solutions for advanced video and audio. What we do with our studio monitors is what you see here, a 5.1, 7.1, or even more speaker environment. And the speakers are normally creating the sound all at the same time, and you sit in the spot like the head in the middle of everything there, and then there comes the room around it, and the room is like that. Now we've got an audio problem. You see that what I mean? The two speakers in the rear are, you cannot place them where they should be placed, so what do? Normally you need any device in the signal processing chain to delay the signal of the rear speakers and make it ending up at the ear of the listener at the same time. But studio monitors in these days can also do this by themselves. There are knobs behind the speaker which are allowing you to do this, reposition the speakers there, and then delay the signal like this, you know. The signal are the white dots which you see now. And now they start moving. And this is what the system does. Now the rear speakers turn on. So they arrive at the same time just because there is a delay unit which compensates the time of flight from the speaker to the listener. I think it's a nice feature. Or a typical situation which you know from what you are doing here in your classes, audio-video synchronization. A typical situation we see quite often on TV, in these days more than in the past, is this.
I think that's pretty certain. Basically, as Jeroen Wouke it appears, overstepped the mark, embarrassed central...
All right? Why is that so? What's the reason for that? Why does it happen? You have two TV sets at home. One is connected via a satellite dish. The other is having cable TV. And the sound, when you switch on both of them, the sound does not arrive at the same time, in the same room, even in the same room. Well, we have longer delay times because video is progressing so rapidly. 4K, 8K, UHD, and I mean, HD is old-fashioned already since, although it's only there since how many years? Not very long. But the processing time for the video signal going for 4K and 8K takes some time. And normally the sound is much faster than the picture in these days because of this processing time. So that, I think, needs this lip sync function in the speaker. So the KH series, the Neumann Studio monitors are called the KH series. They support delays up to 410 milliseconds without any further any gear which you need to have in the signal processing chain. Influencing factors. We have defined a few mega trends, and that's the working method I'm talking about right now, what I mentioned before. You see some mega trends which are marked in orange, and those are the trends which I would like to introduce to you more in detail. Globalization, ongoing territorial shift. There are growth opportunities for audio manufacturers worldwide. There is localization of portfolios needed, and the ease of use, diversification in standards. That is a crucial topic at this time, because, for example, when we see digital microphone technology in these days, you all have heard the AES standard, the AES 67 standard, Ravenna, Dante. There are a lot of standards, technical standards in the industry, which they are preferably used in certain areas of the world, but there is no one-fits-all solution available right now. And that makes it quite complicated to find solutions for that. Connectivity. There are open IP standards, audio, video, lightning, and IT are connected. I asked the question to some of your teachers today, is there a lecture you learn here about IT by itself without being connected to audio or to video? Could you set up a network in an own studio if you decided to create your own business tomorrow? And I simply don't know the answer. Makes probably no sense to say raise your hand when you think you can do that. I think there is room for improvement to teach us all. It's not only you because you are students and we are long enough in the business. Even we need that kind of education. What does it mean to create the right IT infrastructure in an audio, video environment, in a broadcasting facility, which is a completely different story from creating something like an IT structure in a recording studio environment or in a concert hall. So those applications have different requirements, and I think that's a place where all of us have to learn in a new way how cabling and connection and everything will work in future. Standardization, as I said, there are so many standards out there. There is no standard which is just the one and only right standard. So this is something which is an ongoing discussion right now. Content security and protection. I mean, how many artists have lost tremendous amounts of sales, hard dollars, greenbacks, because people are copying the music from one device to another and just don't take the regular download and pay the 99 cents for the song, or buy the CD, which has got 13 songs on that CD instead of the one while you're buying it. So there are a lot of things which have changed over these days. And when I see the golden records here on the walls of Full Sail with 2 million copies sold, 7 million copies sold, I mean, you hardly find artists in these days selling 7 million copies of a CD anymore, right? So that will change. Connectivity, and then cloud functions. I mean, how safe is it when you record something in these days with your iPod and you have it connected to your home Apple environment, iOS environment, and you put it into the cloud? It's stored somewhere. It's not stored in this particular device anymore. It is somewhere out there. How much control do we have about ownership of content? It's another thing. Mobility, that speaks for itself. I think that doesn't need a lot of explanation. Plug and play connectivity to mobile recording tools, I have already spoken about it. And individualization. We have the prosumer, I spoke about that already, who considers himself or herself to be a consumer or a professional. Lifestyle, individualized experiences, and emotions. I learned something today just by walking through your facilities and watching or looking through the glass doors when the students were doing their work there. There are typical classes, and without knowing what exact content is discussed in that particular lesson, you can tell whether it's video, audio, recording, gaming, the creative part of creating pictures for video games. In that group, for example, you have 40% women sitting in the same group. In professional audio recording, out of 30 students, there are 2 girls, 3 girls, that's it. It's right, huh? It's just the case. The people who are, I mean, if I would, as a young student, have to study for a few years, I would better go for the video gaming part. So influencing factors, we call them decatrends, which means these are trends within the megatrends where we see things which I would like to introduce to you here. We define 7 decatrends, and let's start with this. We say, the Sennheiser Group says, or it's not only the Sennheiser Group basically, it's what the industry says. Professional audio will become virtual and immersive. Would you agree to that? Compared to what we have seen after World War II until now, the world is changing right now. The second decatrend, we think 3D sound field productions will be one of the biggest growth areas in professional audio. Would you agree to that? Although in these days, when we go into cinemas, I mean, when I look to your rooms here at Full Sail, where you have big screens and chairs for the audience and a lot of speakers around it, it is, what is it? Is it 3D audio? It is, yeah. It's stereo plus something, but it's not 3D audio. But everybody's talking about it. And we have this Auro 3D thing. There are a lot of concepts, audio-related concepts, which have been created by very intelligent engineers. But the ones who need to adapt this and to make it their working tool is you. If you're saying, well, we don't like it, it's far too complicated, it doesn't deliver the result which we want to see in audio when we create the sound for a new movie, for the cinema, then this will never fly. So there is a trend that 3D sound field productions will be one of the biggest growth areas in professional audio. We simply don't know yet how exactly this will be done. There are a lot of algorithms written by software engineers. There are a lot of devices being made and created in the audio industry. There is a lot of connectivity between the audio industry, the software industry, the IT infrastructure in the different fields of audio recording. But this is a changing market right now, and we all don't have the one and only and the right answer for that. And I think it's a very interesting and challenging time we are in. And if you have more thoughts in your mind based on your experience here at Full Sail, I would be more than happy to get into contact with you and discuss it a little further, because it's also an opportunity for me to have so many young professionals around me and those trends. The next thing we see is we think audio professionals will become IT specialists too. And that was my question about your IT lessons here at Full Sail. And I think there is no country, I mean, if it's not happening here in the United States, where there is the most successful music creation market, the music recording market in the world, where else should we have and develop those programs? If it happens first time, it happens here on American ground. Even when I come from Berlin, but I think it's what's happening. The next thing, we think emerging technologies will have an increasing impact on pro audio. Something like gestural control, head-on audio technologies, virtualized visuals, you know, and I mentioned a few software tools for that. I have seen students here today using what that girl is using there in the video gaming part of Full Sail. And I do believe that things like gestural control are far more, I have seen, they are far more used here in your facilities than in a lot of facilities I have seen in Europe. You have, I mean, just the hall where interested potential students at Full Sail come for the first time to get some information about Full Sail, what you are doing here, what you guys are developing in terms of the different programs. You enter that first room, and the first thing is you see flat screens on the wall, and you can touch it, and you do something with the content just by your finger, pushing your fingers on it. And it's just, the next step is that somebody like me standing on stage here presenting something like you stands here and does like this or this, and something happens on the screen because my gestures are controlled and, well, generate the next picture or do something in that picture or do something in that audio file. And that is by far not advanced enough. There are far more things which can be done in the near future. This is not long-term scientific things here. This is something which will come up in the foreseeable future, where we will see things like that coming up more and more. The industry will be more diversified by applications, price points, mainly on the entry level. Why are we saying that in a situation like here? If people are creating content with their mobile devices, they normally don't spend more than $600–700 on the main device, on the iPhone 6 or something like this. Of course, those people are not the people who are spending $2 or $3 grand on a microphone. I mean, how much do you normally, what would you consider to be a normal price tag for your home recording studio in these days? I'm sure most of you must have something like this in their own environment. At least a lot of you may create some content at home, commercials or anything. What would you consider is a normal price tag on what you need to start this kind of job in your home environment? Huh? Yeah? 2,500. Okay. Any other?
Are you including room, like connection room?
No, not the room. Just the gear.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, like, are you including room, like
Now, I know you need it when you do it the right way, but what I meant is the willingness of people, what they would like to spend on audio, video, and the technical part of it, not room acoustics. 3,000. That was 2,500, 3,000, yes?
I would say you could do it under $1,000. You could do it under $1,000. You could get
Under $1,000. And you see, I mean, that's why I'm bringing it up. There is a trend which does not mean that all the professional recording studios and environments will go away and we will just have people using their cell phones and making nice audio productions. If this were the case, you would not all sit here, because I think a lot of you will end up in nice studios and will do their recording job there in concert halls or produce their own music in a self-created environment. But there is a trend, and this market is definitely growing, and we have to face it as the industry people. What really counts is ownership of content is key. And that goes back to you. Ownership of content. How much of the content you will be creating in the next years to come after you passed your final exam in here will be owned by you? Who will be the owner of whatever content is created? And how will the distribution of music change over the next years to come? We have seen major changes in the last years, and it's only a few years. It's not 30 years I'm talking about here. 7, 8 years ago, you would have bought the next CD of the famous artist or band you like, and just without even thinking about it, you would just buy it and listen to the music. How many of you would buy a CD in these days when you want to listen to the music of your favorite band or artist? But that's less hence than 10 years ago. And, of course, we know there is a difference in quality, and whatever we come up with as a new audio medium, we have restrictions as far as the bit rate is concerned and the sampling rate is concerned, and things which really create the audio quality of the piece. But in general, we can say the artists in these days, with the exception of the very famous artists which just make money like hell the first day they release a new piece of music, the majority of artists are living somehow from the downloads, but mainly from live performances in these days, and from merchandising products and stuff like that. And 10, 15 years ago, this was absolutely different. So that market is changing, and that's why we say ownership of content is the key. But we also think, and that brings us back to the positive side of life here in our group, we think people will still like to go to a place for their work, which people in this case is you, but people in this case is also the consumer buying what you are creating there. There is still a level of professionalism, even on the consumer side. People who require high quality for what they get, not only for symphony recordings, but also for regular music, which we hear every day on the radio, and which is more than the mono signal coming from your radio in the kitchen. And we think that will not pass away. There will always be, at least for a longer time from now on, still be a number of recording studios which are very well known in the industry, who work with famous artists and who really do a great job creating this content, and they will not pass away because of the other trends I just mentioned. But the tendency or the ratio of the groups will differ in a few years from now. So influencing factors until 2020, that's a guess. You can please talk with me against it if you have a different opinion. It's just what we are saying. Two main customer groups, the more uneducated customers creating content, not you, but the people who have not been here and still creating content. And as the overall workflow will be more streamlined, all-in-one recording, signal chain, content distribution via cloud. I mean, it's happening in these days. It's nothing new. And innovations, we will still see and use the same equipment as today until 2020. But IP connectivity for easier access is an essential. So you could say, why don't we make USB microphones? Could you imagine to have something like a U87 or a similar product as a USB microphone for $69? I mean, you are professionals. I spoke about the 64 handmade tests, about a lot of things which are the truth and reality of products like that. Two condenser microphones in the studio environment made by Neumann Berlin. We do not think that this will disappear from the planet within a few years from now, even when times are changing. But until 2020, I think we are quite certain that this market will see some changes, but not be completely upside down. Beyond 2020, it's a little different. Influencers, economic engines driving the pro audio market are more and more gaming. I spoke about it. I saw you guys doing the gaming lessons here today. TV, film, and military. I mean, when I saw today the what do you call it? The drafts and the figures you were painting for video games, and the environments like rooms and machines and stuff which creates sound, just painted by you guys here. It's really amazing how much fantasy is in this building, how much creativity is in your brains that something like this comes up and a person like me goes through that building with a neutral, more or less neutral view on those things. I'm neutral because I'm not here every day like you. And then see you guys just doing it out of the blue, you know, with a piece of paper on your knees, and then all of a sudden you create these things. I mean, this is really great. And this is something which is absolutely needed for the gaming industry. And of course, we also need to create sound for how does a space shuttle sound when it gets started. And I mean, of course, you don't hear anything in space, but we make it sound like something, right? Workflow, high level of remote mixing with internet-based interactivity. Are you doing any remote mixing already here at Full Sail with other studios? Are you uplinking sound files and mix them decentralized in different places? This working method is not so common yet because I think a lot of these really famous producers and sound mixers still like to work the older way. But I think it's unavoidable that this is coming up now. And we see orchestras being recorded in London and the soloist playing his part or her part in Los Angeles. And via uplink satellite, you mix it together and it's up and running and it works. So those things are definitely on the horizon. Common commercial music will routinely be mixed in full 3D immersion. I think you already agreed to that part, if I understood you right, if I read you right. So that's a trend. And innovations, audio as part of emerging technology concepts, which means virtual reality, okay. New materials will set new quality standards. What does it mean, new materials? Fiber optics, for example, versus the copper mountains, which we have in the old concert halls. But it also means new, new material which is created in space. There are a lot of technical tries in the orbit on the space station, where they just see how different components behave without, what do you call that, in space, without being pulled to the Earth, like here on the planet. So there are, well, sorry for my English in this case, but it's not my main topic on a daily basis, what I'm describing here. So there will be new substances being created over the years to come, and new physical principles discovered, which we will be using also for audio technology. And I know what I'm talking about. So let's wait and see. Alternative acoustic electric conversion technologies for the prosumer market. As I said, there is no one standard in the industry which is used by everybody and the one and only recommendation how signals are converted or processed to the signal processing chain yet. It's digital, yes, it's ones and zeros, but beyond that there is a lot of know-how which is not being used yet. One of the things is battery technology. How much operating time do you have with certain devices when you use them wirelessly, stuff like that? And how far can a car drive which uses electrical power? I mean, it's nice to have a car which can do that, but when you have to reload it after 100 miles, it's not a day-to-day usable device yet for a lot of people, although this technology is appreciated by a lot of people. And now, let's see a typical day of these new users. These new users, the trends and the mega trends, the deca trends, what I just explained, are painting a picture, which I think we all commonly understand now after my explanations. And that could be one virtual day of one of these YouTubers in future. I mean, wake up call by Siri. There it starts, right? You have your iPhone on your little table next to your bed, and it tells you in the morning at a certain point in time when you ask it, well, good morning, 10 a.m., filming Lisa's kindergarten performance and stuff like that. I don't need to read through all this. You can read it yourself. But there is a plan for the day. This is, of course, a fine-tailored audio plan because we are among audio professionals here. But there we are still in the environment of a studio microphone. Who knows what studio microphone you see there? Okay. 102 or 103? 102. Okay. How did you recognize it? It's a Berlin bear for you, here, my friend. Okay, so that's at 8:30, just after breakfast, new song recorded on an iOS device. 10 a.m. recording with Lisa, with an iPhone, clip mic, and meta recorder. We spoke about the product. This is doable right now. 1 p.m. preparing equipment for a trade show video, iPhone, selfie stick, clip mic. Again, it's the first and only way to record something with 96 kilohertz sampling rate and 24-bit studio quality with your iPhone. That's a new thing. Shooting at a trade show, it's a similar application, just for a different reason. And then at 5 p.m., transferring audio and video, voiceover, editing. At 7 p.m., uploading trade show report to YouTube. And a quarter after 7, sending Lisa's performance to Grandma. Bomb, done. One day, no studio, nothing, just one person, just one prosumer, doing all that by himself or herself. And 8 p.m., has the band rehearsal, where you use a virtual mixing console on your iPad. And then that's done. The next thing, so that's just a normal virtual day, how it could be in a foreseeable time from now. So now let's go to 3D audio. Where to play 3D audio? Who has ever been doing a 3D audio recording for any purpose? Okay, not all at the same time, please. Where do we come from? In 1877, there was only mono. By the way, the majority of people are still listening mono in their kitchen with this little radio somewhere attached to the furniture. It's not stereo, it's not any other technology, it's mono. In 31, we got stereo. You know why 31? What happened in 1931? You are students, come on, now I challenge you a little bit. What happened in terms of stereo coming to real life in 1931? Blumlein. Mr. Blumlein created Blumlein stereo in 1931. You all know what Blumlein stereo is, right? Just say yes. Okay. You have got great professors. They taught you a lot of good things. You know what Blumlein stereo is. 1974, surround sound. Okay, we started with quadrophony and octaphony and a lot of these things with 4 speakers and 8 speakers coming from the stereo world. And all of a sudden, we are 30 years later, 2005, and somebody says 3D audio. That's cool. And now we are at this point where we see movies coming from Hollywood with 3D audio. We see studios like the Galaxy Studios creating a lot of content in 3D audio. And we see manufacturers picking that up and taking that challenge. And that is the Sennheiser Group. We are doing this now up to a very vast extent. And that's, by the way, also one reason why we started to develop and manufacture studio monitor systems. Not just studio monitors, but studio monitor systems, including a bass management system, mainly driven via the subwoofer. So, common commercial music will be routinely mixed in full 3D immersion and delivered in an open source format. What this can mean in future is something which we don't know yet, but that's the trend I think we can all clearly see. At least in the movie industry, this is definitely happening that way. 3D microphone setups. Here's an example. This is a 360-degree Omni camera. Have you ever been seeing something like this when a recording is going on? But that's reality in video already. Look at that camera on the right-hand side. It looks like a street lamp, which is just fancily made with a lot of glass, but it's not. It's a 360-degree camera. And of course, you also need 360-degree audio for that. In this case, with 84 channels of microphones. In a church environment, why is a church so complicated? Reverberation, right? You have a lot of stony walls and floors and a lot of these extra rooms in the building. It's very complicated. That's the main reason why people use certain microphone technologies in this kind of environment. So if you had a church and you would just record, let's say, a quartet or a little choir, not something big like here, what would you say is the main use of mic techniques in that environment? Decatry. Decatry is the main thing. 3 omnidirectional microphones high up in the sky, and then you cover the depths of the room, and it's probably the best way to capture this unique sound of a church atmosphere the question is everybody wants that, or if you want to have a more dry recording and do something with it later on, but then you go into a studio or a different place. But for a church, it's mainly Decca-Tree. Live 3D audio mixing with an on-site, well, in this case, 13.1 studio monitor setup, transmission via the internet with new standards like MPEG-H. And even here you see there's a lot of speakers around people. This is more something you will see in the installed sound market. So for cinemas and places where movies are shown, this is a typical 3D audio mixing live environment. And 3D environments on worldwide tours. You record something with a camera you have just seen. You see a lot of these channels. You have all the tracks available. And then the artists need to somehow get the good news of their audio creation into the world. So presentation of events like that in 3D environments on a worldwide tour. And the way to do this will be made with a lot of more audio technology in future. There, I think we can be certain that this is one driver which keeps you in a safe job situation as audio engineers. So life changes, but it's just different. It's not worse or better, it's just different. So audio recording, as we say, excellent and attainable sound for professionals and prosumers. And that is a statement which is relevant for the entire business segment of audio recording within the Sennheiser Group. It is nothing which is related to Neumann only or to Sennheiser only. It is something which is related to, well, basically every user who is a virtual customer of ours, a virtual user of ours. So we have talked about future trends, and we have talked about mega trends and deca trends, and I think what I left out until now was the good old past, the good old things which people like with Neumann, like these old tube microphones and the stuff you find on the web when people sell microphones for 20 grand, 15 grand, 10 grand, although these devices have been in use for 40 years, 45 years, 50 years even. And the original price of a U47, for example, in the beginning of the 50s was less than $400, including the power supply. And it's slightly more expensive in these days, as we all know. 20 grand is nothing. And when the microphone is in good condition. So tell me any other investment where you take $400 in the early 50s, you put them into the bank, you buy any paper on the stock market and so on, and you get 20 grand back after all these years. For an electronic device, which you have been using for 50 years. I mean, it's like a used car, which is of no value anymore after 50. After 50 years it is. After 10 years it's not. Wouldn't it be great to have something like that back in these days? I would like to ask my two tour guides today. Darren, are you there somewhere? Okay. And I think, well, can you come up for a moment? And Dana, is Dana here?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, Dana, come on here. I was not sure if you can make it because you have so many things to do at the same time. I thought, what can I do when I come to Full Sail? I give a presentation, I talk to your students, and you spend so much time with me, and you made me walking like I have never walked in the last 4 weeks. I thought we bring the past a little back. You know what that is? Can you read that?
I see that.
You know what it is? Okay.
He's asking if I know what it is.
I mean, we talked about vintage microphones, right? In this case, on behalf of the Sennheiser Group, and in this case in particular of the Neumann headquarters in Berlin, it is a personal honor for me to present to you a reissue of a U47 FET, which is not just a mock-up for one of your displays. It is a working sample. It is a working sample, and it is not just the outer shell, which looks like the historical piece. It is a U47 FET, which is made exactly according to the standards, the electronics, including the parts which are not available anymore. We have made them for Neumann again, and we turned it into the real thing. So, if you don't mind, I would sign this microphone right now on the occasion of my visit here, and I would give it into your hands and ownership for your students, for full sale, for everybody here in this room. And I hope that some of you will have the opportunity to do some A/B comparisons in the studio with other gear you have, and just find out why Neumann has got this legendary reputation for its good sounding microphones, because there's nothing better I can offer to you than this one.
And Darren, you'll have to do this every day now, won't you?
Right. Yeah. Well, all you guys that are in advanced recording. Yeah.
By the way, it doesn't make sense if this disappears somehow from the planet at a certain point in time when you move to a new building, because you are building new buildings every half a year or whatever. There is a special serial number on it which is tracked at the Neumann headquarters. If this microphone,
GPS located.
if this microphone would show up anywhere else in the world but at the Full Sail Enterprises, we will find out about it.
And it will return back.
Right, exactly.
So,
It'll never leave.
okay, and thank you once again for giving me this wonderful tour today. I used a little bit of the impressions I had over this day from the opportunities when you allowed me to look through the window when there were some classes busily working together, and it really impressed me. It was not only about the facility, it was about the enthusiasm of when I saw you, what you are doing, the many friendly and very open-minded people I met. Everybody is, there is a buzz in this whole campus here, which is a very friendly wavelength. And coming from a foreign country, speaking a different language normally, even when I'm quite often in the States, but it's something which I do not see every time I'm visiting places like this. And I can only congratulate you to your friendliness altogether, the way you are mentally connected for the sake of good audio and video and content creation, for creativity with everything which brings us together. And I wish all of you that you are successful, not only graduating from Full Sail, which I think you will do because you pay a lot of money for it, but that you will make that money and gain it back with all the skills that you are getting from the professors and from the teachers here. I mean, there are 1,200 people who are giving their lives, their family life, and their dedication towards you to turn you into wonderful audio recording engineers and specialists and producers and other kinds of jobs of that caliber. And I'm quite certain that having seen the number of golden records here and the Hall of Fame here at Full Sail, that some of you will pop up with an own Grammy, with an own award, with a certificate that honors your future work here at Full Sail. And therefore, I wish you all the best for what you are doing in future. And I hope that we can provide, I hope that we can provide as many good tools and technical solutions to that job you are doing that connects you together with Sennheiser and Neumann and us with Full Sail even in future. And therefore, I will give you a little hint what has been created with this particular U47 FET microphone. Not this one particular piece, but that type of microphone. And if you don't know the recordings you are hearing right now, then this microphone is new to you. If you recognize what you are hearing right now, then you have had connection to the U47 FET before in your youth. Did you recognize something from it? That's why I have chosen the U47 FET for Full Sail. So, thank you for your attention. I'm done, and now I'm available and open for any questions you may have.
All right, let's give a great hand. Thank you. If you guys do want to ask questions, I have a feeling we probably have the microphones,
Yes.
so maybe we'll bring them to you. I saw a hand up here.
Yep. Keep your hand up in the air, and we'll get a mic to you guys.
Okay, I'll get you first.
Hello, Mr. Wolfgang. Thank you for coming
Hello.
today. I think I really like your presentation. Got a little nervous talking to you. What I think is missing.
Forget about my title, just say
All right. What I would like to see in professional audio is I think there's something lacking in, I guess, like medically. I have a lot of friends and family. Well, not a lot, but I have friends and family that are hearing disabled, especially with up and coming technologies, especially 3D audio. I think would be a great thing for somebody who's especially in a car or something like that. It would be a great thing for them to have, and I'd like to see a company such as Sennheiser collaborate medically for people with listening disabilities to have opportunity to grow in that field also. Well, my question is do you see that happening in your headquarters?
What is your name?
John.
John, for the time being, there is nothing going on like that. Sennheiser has been working in the field of hearing aids since quite some time with little knobs you can put into your ear when you are disabled that you hear better. But there are also other manufacturers doing that. What you, if I understand you right, John, you mean if we would create a kind of a new technology which somehow creates sound by, I don't know, vibration, which is created by a newly device, just not a speaker, anything different. We're not working on it. There are people in the industry who are developing something like that. But I will take that, and I'm not saying it just to be nice or polite here in this group. I will take that as a nice way of making me think about it. And normally when I start thinking about it, there's a reason why.
I think it would definitely be the 3D audio mixing. It could be applied in somewhere like a car
Yeah.
Where I know my uncle has a disability listening to what's in front of him, what's behind him, what's around him. Just my take on it.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's a very good input, but I don't have a clear answer to it. The clear answer is no, we are not doing anything like that. But I take the hint as an interesting way of thinking in a new way. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
Hi. Thanks for coming to Full Sail.
Pleasure.
My question is about 3D sound. You say you see it in the future. You see that most mixes will be in 3D. That means that the consumers will have a way to listen to music in 3D, not just going to an Atmos theater or something. And
That's
since
right.
most consumers nowadays listen through headphones or even from their laptop speakers or from their cell phones in mono, which drives some of us nuts, But how will you approach making the consumer, educate them into getting systems that are 3D ready or some of the sort?
What's your name?
Bertrand.
Hmm?
Bertrand.
Burton. Well, Burton, you personally, as most of the others here, are using systems in these days. They are just not delivering 3D content. Who of you is driving a car and has a fancy audio system in it? Okay, who of you is driving a car having not a fancy audio system in it? Who of you wants to make tons of money after you have finished your exam in here? Okay, you will all have cars with nice audio equipment in it later on. And that's the point in time, Bertram, where this becomes an interesting thing. Because there's not enough 3D audio music recordings available, neither on broadcast nor from any kind of a Blu-ray disc or something like this. Blu-ray, by the way, is the only source you can use in these days, but who has got a Blu-ray disc player in his car? You may have a CD player, but that's mostly the end of the story. So it's a matter of hardware being used in the car, because that is the ideal spot where all of us are forced to sit in the same spot, like the sweet spot in front of your console, in front of your studio monitors, to listen equally to both signals. In this case, 5 signals. And that environment is a typical market for audio, which is used by, or is in the view of many manufacturers in order to create better sound for consumers, because there's nothing better than cars for that, because almost everybody is having a car. But that's, of course, not the only environment. I mean, the question is just, how will the signal be delivered to your home in future?
Right.
Yeah? Will you see a Blu-ray disc, which you buy in a store, go home and put it into your player and that's it? Or will you get it delivered via the internet? What you are doing now, you have your playlist at certain providers, and then you just say, today I want to listen to jazz for an hour, and then it plays one piece after the other. And that device could deliver 5.1, 7.1, 9.1, 22.1, like the Japanese will do for the Olympic Games in the early 20s. So the technology is half there and half not there. And we are on the way to develop the right tools which are affordable for everybody. Because, I mean, people don't want to spend thousands of dollars just to hear good sound. It must be affordable for almost everybody. Then it becomes a mass product, and then it becomes a standard. But we are not there yet. We are on the way to that, and we'll see how that will turn out within the next few years. I think it will not take 10 years from now until there is a clear answer to your question. For now, I would say that's as far as I can get. Can you live with that answer?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, sir. So my name is Ritvik. I'm here.
Yeah, sorry.
Hi.
You know, you see me much better than I can see you. It's,
All
you
right.
know, it's much lighter here than in the audience. Okay. What's your name?
So my name is Ritvik.
Okay.
All right. Sir, I'm a big fan of all your products. I mean, from KNets to the microphones. Sir, the new product that you have launched, the microphone that connects to your phone,
Yeah.
and you can record off it. So the box that comes with it, is that the preamp as well as the A to D converter, or is it, or what exactly does that do?
You are the first one who asks me exactly about this product, right?
Yes.
And I thought there will be 20 people asking me about it. I mean, you all clapped your hands. I did not forget about that part. But you were the only one who was asking me it. And so I think it's a $199 product. And once I'm here and I'm the president of the company, it's your day. I think that, well, you didn't ask a question, sorry. So that's part one of the answer. Just check it out, you know, just download the app from the App Store and then just play around with that. And you will see how far you can get. There will be more devices like this. At the time being, this is a starting point. I mean, we just thought in the Sennheiser group, okay, how can we get these two worlds of what we are currently having and what other manufacturers are doing for the good sake of the potential iOS customer in future? And that is the result. We will see how we proceed. There is no decision yet what will be the next product to come and so on. But I would say, as far as I would like to talk publicly about it now in this moment, you should better not miss the next NAMM show, the next NAB, and if you cannot go to the trade shows, just look it up on the web.
Sir, I also wanted to ask that, is this going to be very big at the Infocom coming up next week? Infocom broadcast show?
We are exhibiting at Infocom. Dawn, are you here? Can you answer that question? So Dawn, let's put it that way, because you don't have a microphone there. We will make that happen. So if you go to Infocom, you will be the one who will be recognized entering our booth and say, oh yes, I know it, I have one at home.
Okay, I have the mic now. It's likely we will have a couple of pieces on the stand. It won't be quite as big as a presentation as NAB was, but please go by and speak to our staff. Thank you.
Okay. I make it easy for you. Any more questions? 10 people asking questions right away. Okay, go ahead.
Is this product coming with a microphone, or you can buy your own microphone and plug it in?
This product consists of a lavalier mic, a clip mic, the apogee converter, which is directly connected to the microphone, and the converter has a cable ending with a lightning connector, so you just plug it into your iPhone and that's it. You don't need any further device. It's a one-fits-all solution. No? More questions?
Over here. I have it over here. Right-hand side.
Okay, so
No.
go ahead.
My name is Benjamin.
Yes.
I'm an inventor myself, and I have recently started a company, and we're working on combining high quality and that warm tone of analog, and being able to capture the sound in analog, but have the ease of use and the manipulability of digital. Is that something that Neumann and Sennheiser are going to continue to produce on maybe a wireless level, and having very high quality wireless microphones like a U87 or a U47 with a wireless connectivity? Do you think that we will be able to develop signal that can travel through wireless systems that can be that high quality and capture what those microphones are all about and what they stand for?
The simple answer is yes. The next question will be, and what is the product like? I don't know yet. So yes, we are working on solutions like that, but it's too early to talk publicly about it. But it's, of course, a very reasonable demand. The question, what you're asking for, it's a matter of how you transfer wirelessly the same audio quality without, with the right dynamic range of the signal. And we are working on solutions for that, but it's too early to give you a clearer answer than what I can say right now. I hope it satisfied you for the moment.
Yes.
Please just watch our actions over the next year or so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wolfgang?
Please.
Hello.
Now, let's take a woman now so that we...
Wolfgang, we're going to go to the online real quick. We have an online question for you.
Okay.
Okay, this is from Carl Hordick. He says, given the proliferation of digital audio transport formats, do you see a root format for future microphone level development? Could it be AES 42?
The honest answer is I doubt it. I would not say no, but I doubt it because the AES 42 standard has been out since, I think, 12 years now. And several, for example, sound mixing console manufacturers gave it a try and built devices which are working on the AES 42 standard, but none of the manufacturers, almost none of the manufacturers, created a console where you can just put in digital microphones on the AES 42 format and plug and play like in the analog world. So let's put some realism to it. If it did not happen over the last 12 years, why should it happen in the year 13? So that's why the industry came up with this AES 67 standard, which is somehow, building a platform for Dante plus, for Ravenna and the AES 42 standard and turn it into something which you can use for a common connectivity, but even that is not accepted yet by the majority of manufacturers, so we simply don't know. It's the honest answer, and I'm knowing that we are probably also having some of my colleagues from the industry watching what I'm saying here on the internet, but I would guess if they were here, they wouldn't have the answer too. If so, somebody would come up with a solution, would already have come up with a solution during the last trade shows. And I think up to now, we, within the Sennheiser Group, are still the one and only microphone manufacturer for digital microphones who has an almost complete range of digital microphones for almost every application, which means instruments with different sound pressure levels and stuff like that, which is available right away ex-stock. And I wouldn't do a recording with an 85 musicians orchestra plus this huge choir if this would be unusable. So, okay, please.
Yes, sir. You say you guys are currently in development of studio monitor systems. Would you guys be actually trying to develop maybe the Neumann standard of personal mixing headphones? Maybe something that can process lossless audio?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. That's all I need.
Next question. Now I go to this side. I had promised you to ask the question. Okay, sorry.
I just wanted to know how long maybe it would take for you guys to make it for Android.
I wouldn't promise anything because I always give dates to something in my function as the president of that company if I'm really certain that we can achieve that date or be earlier than that. But I don't promise anything publicly, and then in the end I don't want to die on the beach, So I would say it will take us at least another year before you see an Android-based solution, after we have introduced the iOS solution now. But even that is not safe. It's just giving you an understanding of the time frame. It's probably not satisfying you, but it's the truth. Okay, you were next, I think.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I've been working in news, television, and radio for the past years. And I see a trend more and more of reporters doing this. So that microphone is a really great idea. But the question is, have you thought of a more handheld solution so that they can record it on their phone, but still hold the microphone as they're used to? Like this is especially for news reporters, for radio and stuff.
I repeat myself, yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Is it
When
on the
can I
market or-
have it?
Yes, exactly. Is it on the market or is it coming?
It's not on the market, but it's in a foreseeable future.
Hi, thank you very much for coming first. My question is, with the new product that you guys are coming out, it's recording on 96K and 24-bit. So that will make you not able to do immediate playback when you record, right? So you have to get to a place with nice sound to be able to hear the recording. I figure it would be nice, because it doesn't have a speaker in it. I figure it would be nice to have some kind of device that you guys can come up to do immediate playback, instead of recording and hearing it in your phone, which is not gonna work.
That's a good question, which goes beyond my knowledge. I'm not aware of a development like this, and I think if something were on the horizon, I would know about it, because I think I know all the projects we are currently making. But that's a question I cannot answer right away. So for that purpose, I think, to be honest with you, if you give me your email contact, I will contact you right after my return to Berlin, and I will get an honest answer by our engineering team and our product management.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you after the chat.
Okay, please.
Yeah, my name is Luke Knight, and
Hi, Luke.
thank you for coming today. My question is basically, ever since I came to Full Sail, I've had this question in my mind that technology, as far as microphones go, has been around for a long time. Is there any possibility of you guys thinking in the future of eliminating the microphone process for another technology, or have you ever explored that?
I know what your question is. Where it is going? A counter question. Would you be able to ask a singer if he would give away his microphone and use something which is invisible, not touchable, and tell him the recording will be as good as with this handheld microphone, but you work now in a different way? The instrument of the vocalist is the microphone, at least for that handheld purpose. I'm not talking about the radio announcer in the evening with this, deep frequency voice talking about the next symphony being broadcasted right now. But I don't think that it will be so easy to make microphones disappear from the planet and replace it by a new technology which works absolutely in a different way. I wouldn't say it's impossible. I mean, nobody believed at the beginning of last century that we will fly to the moon in the 60s, and we did it. In 10 years from now, we'll be flying to Mars, and it's rocket science, but we still do it. With microphones, I think microphones are also a collector's item. I mean, a lot of famous artists, and believe me, I know quite a lot of them, they are microphone collectors. They are having, in some cases, hundreds of not only Neumann microphones, but a lot of Neumann microphones in their collection, because they say it's a safe investment. It's like buying an expensive grand piano or something like this. It's an investment, and it stays there. You can use it on a daily basis. You don't get any interest for the money when you put it into the bank. You can enjoy using the device, and when you resell it, you get your money back, or even more than you have spent on it. And that's not the case with every microphone. With Neumann microphones, in most of the cases, it is like I described it right now. I don't think that it will be so easy to make microphones disappear from that planet, at least not within the next 20 years. Who should be next? Yeah, okay, please.
Hello, my name is Miguel. It's a pleasure to meet you. My question is, for the last years, when plugins came out, for example, a lot of engineers were against plugins. Oh, no, it's not the same as the real deal, etc. We've seen a trend coming from those days on and changing. For example, UAD came out with the DSP Apollo technology, which kind of changed the game. A lot of people is not using outboard gear anymore because of the DSP power and how good it is. Now, my question is to you, do you think in any future Neumann, because it's out, there's a technology of virtual microphone system, which emulates what vintage mics do. So my question is, does Neumann at any point is looking at themselves and thinking, wow, are we going to do the same thing as, for example, what UAD did with outboard gear, but with microphones? Because, at least none of us here have 20 grand to spend on a U47 vintage mic. But we probably have 2 grand to spend on a microphone that could emulate it, and more if it's made by Neumann.
Yeah. In this case, it's more a question for the entire Sennheiser group. It's not Neumann only related. Yes, we are thinking about possible solutions to, do some kind of emulation of sounds, because there are others, the Antares mic modeler and stuff like that, where you just plug a microphone in and then you switch it to U87 and the manufacturer says, now you turn a $100 microphone into a $3,000 microphone. Up to now, I have not met professionals in the industry. I mean, professionals who are long enough in the business, who really make a good living from that, who would say it's an equivalent to the original yet. But the question is absolutely valid.
Microphone-wise, though.
Yes, yes. But in future, there may be algorithms and, intelligently developed software solutions and hardware components which create a distinctive sound very close to the analog originals of the past. And we have to think about it, and we are thinking about it, but it's not done in a way that I would say in a year from now there is this box for 2 grand and then you have what you were just asking for. We are carefully watching the market and what's happening, but it is nothing we neglect when we think about future products.
All right, thank you.
Please.
Hello there. My name is Daniel. I just started, so this is one of my first GPS events, and I would like to thank you for coming. I have a couple of actual points that I really want to just say that are genius. The number one thing that you pulled me in were decatrends. Now, knowing that the future will arrive faster than when we actually make it, one of my favorite ones is actually 3D Sound Field Productions will be the biggest audio growth. Does that also mean for live productions, for say if U2 is going to the O2 field or Deadmau5 is using new products, will that be another, like if you're going to the movie theaters and you hear 3D sound, will you go to concerts and hear the same exact, well, not the same exact result, but the same type of feeling you get 3D wise?
Daniel, I think what we are doing in these days is that we determine the format which you are taking home for listening purposes, stereo 5.1, 7.1, 9.1, before you make your purchase decision and you go into a store and buy a CD, a Blu-ray disc or something else. In future, the time will come when this intermediate step will not happen anymore. People will record 60 tracks and deliver them to your home device, infotainment box for the entire house, which feeds the cloud of all your devices. And on the device, you make the decision whether you want to listen to that symphony in 5.1 and 7.1 or in mono, and then it plays it like that. It creates that mix with algorithms in a new device. And it's not the question of whether you spend the money on the Blu-ray disc or on the CD or something else. And that is something which could happen. There are other thoughts how this could be done. There may be new standards in the industry which are not out yet, which are then owned by the one who invented them. We don't know yet. But the world doesn't stand still, and something is going to happen within the foreseeable future.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
I think you have one over there that's been waiting a while.
Somebody needs to make the decision, okay?
Hey, Wolfgang. I have a question,
Yes,
and it's
please.
in regards to 3D audio.
Yes.
So you were saying that we could listen in 5.1, 7.1, or 9.1, but is there a more portable way to listen to 3D audio? Like, can headphones be capable of doing 3D audio as well, or will there be a newer technology that gets developed in the future for more portable ways of listening?
I think the first steps will be a new headphone which provides some kind of audio like this, but this cannot be the end of the story. It needs to be newer technology which provides that image to your brain by whatever means and gives you that impression of surround sound. But this is a view into the glass ball. You know, I'm not having anything back in my mind and say, well, this is what we are working on, and you can say what I'm saying right now, but not more because it's under development. It's not under development. It's just guessing. There is no clear answer to that question. At least I don't have one.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. So who decides who is next? Because I don't want to be the bad guy here. Other side, okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I'm Carlos.
Hi,
I'm
Carlos.
probably one of the few people here in the film industry, so thank you for including it in your presentation. I just wanted to ask, you said post-2020, you'll see that the film industry is sort of making its presence known in the pro sound industry. What is Neumann doing to sort of prepare itself for this?
Be there and provide the right gear for the film industry.
Are they making any adjustments on products right now that
we
can know about?
We are constantly working on future concepts, and the presentation here was not about talking about the next TLM such and such or U such and such, U 89, there is an 89 already. So we are working on future concepts, and of course we clearly see the film industry, the gaming industry, and the things I presented here. It's not Neumann only related. It's also a question within the whole Sennheiser group. But it's too early to speak about specific products. The answer to your question is yes, we are prepared for it, and you will not have to change to a different brand after 2020 because we are outdated or old-fashioned. That will not happen, believe me. We are in the market since 87 years now, and we have no intention to not survive beyond our 100th birthday. So, yes, there will be something available.
How's it going? Have another question from another online student, and it is Cider Mill Studio is the name, and they ask, is Sennheiser or Neumann working on anything in the wireless market that would help broadcasters with wireless systems to stay one step ahead of the FCC and frequency auctions?
To be honest with you, that is a question which I cannot answer because it goes to the high frequency part of our company. And I know there is a lot going on. A lot of our engineers are working on new systems and new technical solutions. But I'm simply not knowing enough about that part of high frequency development to be just able to answer the question. I'm sure something is going on, but I have no clear answer to that. And I don't know if somebody in my team can do it. Dawn?
We actually have a full team of people who are working on RF spectrum reallocation, from a re-engineering to a marketing to a governmental sort of lobbying aspect throughout our company. So we are very keenly watching the RF spectrum. We understand what's going on with the digital dividend. We understand we have to be creative and flexible. At the last show, the NAB show we've referenced, we just released our first 2.4 gig product. So that's one way we're addressing the market. And there are a few other things coming out in the future. We're looking at things like using light to transmit audio in the future in a very creative and unique way. So you will see a lot of innovation from Sennheiser. We've always been an RF technical leader, and that's going to continue. We do have a spot on our website if you're interested in our lobbying activities. We've worked together with other manufacturers in the industry to put together some lobbying activities with our Congress in D.C. So you can see our activities there, understand what's going on, and contribute. We always need people to write in and talk about how this affects your future, because it really does affect all of us. We create the best content that's exported all over the world, and that's going to be deeply affected, and your futures could be affected by that. So please have a look at our website, and that'll teach you a little bit more. Thank you.
So if you don't mind, I see 4 more hands raised. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 now, and then I think we should be done if it's okay with you. Let's see. Let's do these questions one after the other. I think you were first, so please.
Yeah, I'm a recording arts student, and I'm here because I want to do post-production sound for movies. I was thinking, since it's really expensive for me to get my own shotgun microphone and mixer and to do production sound, that $199 seems to be a better option for me. Is this a possibility to get professional sound for movies? It will be a good option for me, this mic?
It really depends on what kind of recordings you are doing. I mean, a 416 from Sennheiser is a 416 for video and TV and cannot be easily replaced by a $199 device. But if you see it as a starting point in your audio career and you are looking for a product like that, it may not be $199, but there will be something which is a kind of a shotgun solution for that environment very soon from now. Does it satisfy you? Okay. So other side, you ladies first.
Wolfgang, we got one over here.
Okay, then okay. And normally I would say ladies first, but you know it's American ground, so you guys are determining it. Yeah, please.
My question is based on your speaker system, your monitor system. The question is that would the monitor system have a calibrating inbuilt system in it for a better flat response?
Yes.
In any kind of room?
Yeah. There is a description in the operating manual how you do it, and it's very easy to calibrate it. You can do it yourself. And with every system you get delivered. By the way, there's also a downloadable information on our website where you find the answer to exactly that, how to do it, how to calibrate it in your personal environment. It's no problem at all. The thing is, you should simply have some more of the Neumann Studio monitors somewhere in this facility to get to know about it. I saw a lot of other stuff like Genelec, Dyne Audio, and so on, which is of course all good gear, but an educational institute should have options to learn more about different characters of all these things. But I would think we can work on that in future.
Thank you.
Okay. So now, yes, please.
Hi, thanks for coming. My name is Micah.
Hi,
With
Michael.
the new microphone and hardware that you have with Apogee, I saw in the picture that the guy was using it outside. Would you suggest using it outside?
If I would have a suggestion how to use it outside?
Well, for the outside environment.
Well, you can use it for outside environment, definitely. There is a windscreen coming with the system, so which you put on top of the lavalier microphone. And we have been doing some test recordings ourselves before we started promoting the product. And it's not working like a shotgun. That is a different application. But people will start, recording their own wedding, that child performing something, what I just mentioned in my presentation. And these are not invented examples. Those are things which we did with this microphone. It worked perfectly. Okay, so who decides who can ask the next question? Okay, so a girl. Now you are on, even when the others say, no, it's me first, it's you now. Hi.
Hello, thank you for coming to Full Sail to see us this afternoon. My name is Rachel, and I have to say I'm very proud of my fellow classmates and their wealth of knowledge about the microphones. I started pretty late, though. I'm 43 years old, so I'm probably the oldest student here. So for me, I'm pretty much a beginner of learning about the microphones. That being said, I did hear Don mention some things about some of the shows that you are having. So I would like to know about those shows so that I too can kind of get an experience of maybe even hands-on or seeing some of your designs or from your company.
Make sure that you give us your email address, and we will give you a detailed list of all the trade shows where we are exhibiting over the rest of the year, and maybe also for springtime next year, because the calendar is for more than 10 months from now. And it depends on what you are interested in a particular way. If it's a broadcast environment you want to work in, then it would be the NAB in Las Vegas. If it's more music production, like the Wild Musicians going to NAMM, then of course it's NAMM show or the Frankfurt Music Fair. If it's also possible for you to travel to other countries and go to trade shows there. If you are selecting something always on American ground and you are more consumer related, Infocom would definitely be the right show to go. But there are more than the ones I'm just mentioning. So make sure that you give your email address to Dawn, my colleague who just answered the previous question, and then we will provide you with the necessary information.
Do you have any shows in Florida or Orlando or anywhere?
Dawn, do we have shows in Florida? Yeah, but other than that, that's the only one. Yeah. Okay, so Infocom, I repeat it because she didn't have a microphone. In the area of Florida, Infocom is the only trade show where you will find us this year. Okay? So now it's your turn.
Okay, my name is Jonathan. I got a quick question. It's like Sennheiser and Neumann is a big company with microphones, and also I'm a gamer. And being that it's a multi-billion-dollar business, are you ever considering working with either Microsoft or Sony for headphones and microphones and speaker system for a gaming console or a gaming environment system? Is there any future plans to collaborate with such said companies?
There are plans like what we are doing with Apogee now as an example for cooperation towards new customer groups using existing technologies and combine them into something new. A common development with one of the big players on the globe for the gaming industry would be an option which we have been talking about quite a lot, but there is nothing which I could announce here like we are running into a cooperation with manufacturer A, B, or C? If so, you will be among the first ones to know, because we will highlight it publicly so that you can't overhear it. But at the time being, there is no plan in particular where I could say we do something with or Sony or somebody who is big in that industry. But it's not a new idea, and it's definitely on our radar. Are we done?
Yes.
There's another.
No, we're going to go ahead.
Done?
We've actually gone over time now.
Okay.
So we wanted to thank you very much for coming and also for the wonderful gift. Everyone here and also on the live stream, thank you very much for coming. Now let's give another hand to Wolfgang Fraissinet.
Just on a last note, I mean, I know it was not very fair to give one of these clip mics to the first question, the first person who asked a question about it. You see, there are a lot of clip mics on the table. We leave them here. They are for you, for Full Sail. And I think the professors and teachers here at Full Sail will find the right students who should be the owners of these devices. We give them free of charge to Full Sail to support your busy students here, and we hope that this is a good thing for the ones who will get one. Not everybody can get one, of course, but it's quite a number of devices for Full Sail. So thank you. If that is everything, then I think we are done, and I thank you for your attention. I hope that it was interesting for you and you can use it somehow for your future work, and everything else has been said before. Take care. Bye-bye.